This is the fastest way you can improve your 5K. I'm going to give you 5 key sessions, specific sessions that are fun sessions and probably work on the area of your game, your 5K game, that you're probably neglecting. Now, these are specific sessions that I used from going from not being able to run 400 meters to running my first 5K in 25 minutes, which seems like a good time, but once I used these training sessions, then I moved very quickly within 3 months to 16 minutes and 30 seconds. And from that platform, I went on to running a 2:21 marathon and representing my country, and running a 100K in 6 hours 42 and representing Great Britain. Now, if you think of running as building the surface area of a triangle, and that's exactly the reason for this logo, the base of the triangle would be your aerobic capacity. The level after that, the middle, would be your speed endurance or your lactate threshold. And the top would be the VO2 max or your raw speed, your ability to go fast over short distances. Most people, most 5K runners who are doing 5K or park run on a regular basis are going out there and running, and they're building their aerobic capacity. What they're often not doing is the middle bit of the triangle, the speed endurance. And what the vast majority of 5K runners, recreational runners, are not doing is tapping into their top end speed, their raw speed, and building that VO2 max. These sessions are all going to attack your speed endurance and your VO2 max. Session number 1. 20 times 100 meters. So just short, sharp reps. Very, very quick. And if you've not done intervals that short before, it will be like building a new skill of you moving as fast as you possibly can over the ground for less than 25-30 seconds. A minute rest in between, and keep the minute rest in between as a constant throughout these 5 sessions. Now that's only 2 kilometers of volume, 20 times 100 meters, and they're short, sharp reps. But if you're new to that, it's probably going to make you feel sore the next day. What I want you to do in those reps is feel like you're in full control. So essentially accelerations, but faster than your typical strides. They're not so dissimilar to your strides, but as we go on to the progressions, you'll understand why you're doing 20 times 100 meters. Session number 2, 20 times 150 meters. So we're sticking with 20 reps and we're sticking with 60 seconds rest in between. We're focused on that pace, that top end pace, but holding it for 150 meters instead of 100 meters. So 50% more, but we're working with then 3 kilometers worth of volume. So we're gradually building the volume at you running at your top end speed. Session number 3, 20 times 200 meters with 60 seconds rest in between. So we're keeping 20 as the number of reps as a constant, and we're keeping 60 seconds rest recovery in between. So we're getting used to putting the effort in during the rep, controlling our breathing after we finish the rep, and bringing the heart rate down to go again. And we're focused on controlling the whole session. So the pacing each individual rep, pacing each 5, but also pacing the entire session. What that's going to feel like to run those 200 meter reps, now we're dealing with 4 kilometers worth of volume, it's double what we started with 20 times 100 meters. So it's likely that you're not able to hold the same pace that you were for 100 meters, or if you're completely new to speed and this top end speed, after 2, 3, 4 weeks, it's likely that you are able to keep exactly the same pace that you could hold for 100 meters for 200 meters, because there's much more of a 5K, there's much more of a distance runner in you. Session number 4, 20 times 250 meters with 60 seconds rest in between. So 5 kilometers worth of volume, but we're sticking with 20 reps, we're sticking with the rest recovery in between at 60 seconds. We're building more volume at that top end speed, but we're gradually getting to it. So we're going from 100 meters to 150 meters to 200 meters, and now we're at 250 meters. So 5 kilometers worth of volume at that top end speed. And it's important to go through those steps, especially if you're new to working on your top end speed. What it's going to mean for the rest of your running is your running economy is improving, your VO2 max is improving, and you're gradually, over the weeks, as you tick off this type of session on a weekly basis, you're building that consistency, and it's affecting the rest of your running for the positive. Session number 5, 20 times 300 meters. So we're working with 6 kilometers worth of volume, sticking again throughout with the 20 reps and always sticking with the 60 seconds rest in between. So we're working with 6 kilometers of volume. We're building that volume at top end speed. There's a big difference in being able to accelerate into your top end speed in 100 meters and being able to hold that for almost the length of the track for 300 meters. It's a different type of energy almost needed, but when you're starting off with that initial 100 meters, it's more like an acceleration than an all-out sprint, and therefore you're in complete control of each individual rep, of each 5, of each 20 of the entire session. It's exactly the same as you move on to 150 meters, onto 200 meters, onto 250 meters, and onto 300 meters. So 20 times 300 meters, a lot more volume, 3 times the amount of volume that what we started with, but because we've gone gradually through the steps, you can now do 20 times 300 meters at a really, really quick pace. And what that usually looks like is way faster than your 5K pace. And there's a big difference between your 5K pace, the pace that you can hold for 5 minutes, for instance, the pace that you can hold for 3 minutes, and the pace that you can hold for a minute. What we're essentially doing here is working on the pace we can hold for a minute, but also working on the 30-second top end speed and the 15-second top end speed. And that's going to improve all of your running, from your recovery runs and easy runs, because you become more efficient. You're still building your aerobic capacity with the rest of the sessions and your long run at the weekend. So the rest of the week, you've still got to concentrate on your aerobic capacity. We're working on this session on our speed endurance and our VO2 max, that top end raw speed as well. It's so important to get right. And once you get this right, especially if you've not focused on it before, it's a whole new world. And once you've seen the benefits and what it does for your running, for your top end speed, but also the rest of your running, you won't want to work in a different way. It's also going to affect your interval training for the better. So you'll be able to run your intervals faster. And if you look at a typical session like 6 times a kilometer, that kilometer speed is going to improve because you're used to doing 6 kilometers of volume, 20 times 300 meters, and all of a sudden that 300 meter pace feels quick, but your kilometer pace feels a lot easier and a lot more comfortable for you to get to 700-800 meters, just like in a race, but comfortably and in control. So long as you gradually go from stage 1, stage 2 and through, and that's why the 50 meters doesn't sound like a lot, 50 meters to go from 100 meter reps to 150 meter reps to 200 meter reps. It almost feels as if you want to skip stages and you want to go from hundreds to 200s to 300s. The mistake there is we're trying to do too much too soon. So we're going from 2 kilometers of volume all the way up to 4 kilometers of volume, all the way up to 6 kilometers of volume. It's 50% step each way. Whereas this allows you to absorb the training and then go again next week. And as I said before, I'd have this every single Wednesday or every week on your interval day. Good luck with that. I promise it will improve your overall running and make you a better 5K runner. But tell me, when was the last time you did an interval so short?